Okay, so let me start this off by introducing myself. My name is Marcos Paredes. I live here in Big Bend, and I want to talk a little bit about what I'm doing here today and how I came to be here. So first to that, how I came to be here, I'll tell you that I guess a week, a little over a week, maybe Valentine's Day, I was leaving Odessa, coming home from a doctor's appointment, and I turned the satellite radio on, and I listened to this horrific event unfolding in front of me. The first thing I heard was that they had breaking news that there was a possible active shooter event at a high school in Florida. And of course that got my attention. And I had just turned on the road coming home. I had a 3.5-hour drive ahead of me. And so over the course of the next 3 hours, I listened to this whole thing happening on the radio as I drove home. And it was just, it just shocked me. I was just appalled at what I was listening to. That we had another high school shooting event, you know, and that some young man was roaming through the halls of this high school shooting people. And of course, it initially, it didn't sound like there was much going on, but then as time passed, we started hearing that there were quite a few folks had been shot. And I listened, like I say, I listened to the whole thing on my way home, and I got here and I thought about it, and I talked to folks and immediately got on Facebook and heard what folks had to say about it, and I was just appalled. And I realized that this was happening far too often, and I knew that what was going to be happening next is that we would all be shocked by this, and then in a few days it would just go away like it always did. And I really felt like this time I couldn't do that. Like I had an obligation to do something. That is what got me here, is I felt like I needed to do something. I wasn't sure what. And as I talked to folks, one thing that kept coming up was this notion of AR-15s and how this had been used once again in a shooting, and everybody I talked to agreed. We agreed that this was not the type of weapon that anybody really needed to have. I certainly believed that. I felt like nobody has any, you know, no civilian certainly has any business owning an AR-15. If you're not in the military or in law enforcement, what need would you have for that? And after sharing this belief with folks a few times, I realized that I had one, and I thought, well, I really don't need to have it. I don't need it. Nobody else needs it either. What am I doing with it? And perhaps I should just get rid of it. The problem with getting rid of a firearm is you never know where it's going to end up unless you do. Unless, you know, you get rid of it yourself, you never know where it's going to end up eventually. And so I decided I would just destroy this thing. And that would be one less semi-automatic rifle out there, one less AR-15 that we had to worry about. Of course, my hope was to try to get other people to consider doing the same thing if they chose. You know, I'm not here to tell anybody what they ought to believe, but I figured if anybody felt the same way I did, they could choose to do the same thing. And I decided what I was going to try to do was raise a little money doing this. For those folks who supported what I was doing, who agreed with me, I thought, well, maybe I can encourage them to make a donation to one of the centers against gun violence. In this case, the Brady Campaign Against Gun Violence. We also got some donations for Gabby Gifford's foundation as well. But that was what I wanted to accomplish here was, one, get rid of one of these weapons, and the other was to try to raise some money to help do something about gun control in this country. We can't just keep letting this stuff go on and on. And so that's what I'm here to do today. I really don't believe I have any need for this AR-15. It was designed for one thing, and that was to maim as many people as possible in the shortest period of time. And I don't have a use for a weapon like that. No interest, no desire for it. Furthermore, it really has a stigma attached to it now. I don't think I would even feel comfortable owning it anymore, you know? When you consider the kind of atrocities that have been committed with these things. And so we're going to go ahead and cut it up. And I want to do this really in recognition of the students of Douglas High School in Florida, and what they are doing to stand up for themselves. I think it's admirable. I think we need to support them, and I think they're right. We need to get these things off the streets. We don't need to have, people have no right having a weapon like this. So having said that, I think we'll move on to the next phase of this and go over to the chop saw and cut this thing up.